This particular bus was driven right over the cliff of partisan non-accountability. I have worked with various committees during my 15 years in this House. I've stood here on the podium many times, usually angry at the levels of crime and corruption, at criminality within the SAPS, and at the poor working conditions of our SAPS members. But what I've never been is desperately ashamed to belong to what I have, until recently, believed was one of the premier committees in Parliament. What we sat through and witnessed was a political party turning on one of its own, on, I believe, the orders of the minister. So the executive's now determining debate in a committee that, according to legislation, actually oversees that very body, the tail wagging the dog. I voted against the appointment of Mr. McBride as the head of the IPID, having carefully considered his actions post-94. However, Mr. McBride pulled up his socks and did a damn fine job. Indeed, according to the ANC Scope Study Group, just 6 months ago, it was pleased with the progress being made by IPID in its probe into cases. McBride created a team. He survived the political attack by one of the 3 ministers he worked under, the creator of Firepool, the movie. And when the charges were chucked out of court, he returned, rebuilt what had all been but destroyed by the SAPS, and went on to root out massive state capture, corruption, the stealing of billions of rands from the SAPS budget. Our meetings were never about extending Mr. McBride's contract as allowed in the Act, or even about appointing a new IPID head. They were, I believe, about discrediting Mr. McBride so that when all is revealed to the State Capture Commission, it will be discarded. It was so obvious, I shudder to think what the court's reaction will be when they watch the footage of those 3 days when the committee all but eviscerated the man. He was called a liar, he was sneered at, he was demeaned, all with no right of reply. I asked that to balance the negativity they were obviously going to put in their report, not ours, it include his successors. No, they wouldn't allow that, saying that as various ministers failed to sign the performance agreements, there was no proof anything had been done. The fact that he'd reported regularly to Parliament was totally ignored. At the outset, Honourable Marquez said he was a lazy MP and hadn't read the documents anyway. Another ANC member said we were wasting the cost of juice and should just vote and throw him out. An ANC member twice called him a liar, someone who they refused to allow there to defend himself. Now that's the definition of a kangaroo court. Let's start with my particular favourite, and quite possibly the reason why they now hate him with a visceral intensity rarely seen in Parliament. Through one of 3 investigations with a combined value of 106 million rand, IPID prevented SAPS crime intelligence from implementing the fraudulent procurement of a cell phone grabber device at a grossly inflated price. IPID believes the 45 million rand extracted through the procurement was to be used to buy votes at the ANC National Elective Conference in December 2017. There are the complex, politically sensitive investigations, 8 officers awaiting trial for Marikana, high-level investigations into 5 billion rand corruption in SAPS management. Arrests have been made there.
Honourable Kohler Barnard, can you take a seat?
Certainly.
What's the point of order, Honourable Member?
Can the Honourable Member take a question?
Honourable Kohler Barnard, can you take a question?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
the list goes on and on, and what was the inevitable outcome in our parliamentary lexicon in relation to what happens when a cadre does a good job, like the Scorpions did. Honourable Karim, who became a deputy minister once he had destroyed that unit, although I don't think he is one any longer, in fact I gather he's out, did exactly that. They are attacked, their characters assassinated, and they are disposed of. And there is usually someone's hide that this activity saves. There is no prima facie evidence of misconduct on the part of Mr. McBride. Claims made against him are not evidence, they're merely allegations. And the mere institution of an investigation on the receipt of a complaint does not render the allegations more credible. These allegations were withdrawn and have now been dusted off and taken to the public protector, and I've no doubt that was with someone's encouragement. Meanwhile, the new minister has appointed an acting head of the IPID who has no security clearance, and they were absolutely silent about that. Finally, the head of the IPID does not answer to the minister, he gives him reports. The minister's there to act and speak for the police. Obviously, his job is to protect them, and their roles are adversarial. What if the next IPID head disagrees with the minister or finds out something he would rather keep hidden? Will you want to remove him too, and the next one too? The Act only says the ED must do his job, which he was doing, and as I said when I walked out, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Order, honourable member, honourable person.